Fratian, NLP practitioner and clinical hypnotherapist. In the following interview, I'd like to introduce you to a lady by the name of Leslie Sewell. Leslie was one of my clients back in 2014 when she came to see me in July to try and deal with her issues around weight loss. Leslie, like so many other people, had been unsuccessful through the normal dieting route, having tried all kinds of traditional methods. So she decided to turn to something, in her words, as a leap of faith, which in this case was the Gastric Band Hypnosis SCRT system. But as you'll find out, Leslie was quickly able to reset her entire attitude towards food, so much so that to this date she has managed to lose 5 stone in weight and continues to lose weight at the time of this recording, which is now into February 2015. As Leslie speaks, you will find out that she, as so many other people, started off with a healthy amount of skepticism and gradually managed to transform that into something which has now completely altered her life. Now, hopefully, as you listen to this recording, you'll find a lot of the questions that you may have in your mind, if you're considering this particular route, answered by what Leslie says. And indeed, if that is the case and you would like to know more, then there are a number of options for contacting me, one of which is to fill in the inquiry form if you're on the website itself and request a free callback, or you can contact me directly through Facebook, or you can contact me on the telephone number that you can see listed on this page. I hope you find this interview both informative and enjoyable, and if it raises any questions, I look forward to your call. This is David Fratian. Pleased to be joined this evening by Leslie Sewell. Leslie, it's really lovely to see you again, and thank you so much for agreeing to speak to people today about your experience with the Gastric Band weight loss system. Because of course for a lot of people it is the unknown, and there will be a lot of questions that people want answering. So I guess the first thing I'd like to ask you is, how long up until the time that you decided to embark on this approach had you been struggling with your weight?
Probably from I was about 16 or 17, and I'd gone through this cycle of thinking I needed to lose weight, dieting, stopping dieting, putting it back on, starting again, and it just got progressively worse and worse and worse.
So in that sense, it sounds to me like you were going through a cycle of yo-yo dieting.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so you really understood what that was like.
Mm-hmm.
And for you, what was it about weight that really, what did it take from your life? Why were you so unhappy with your weight?
Because I felt it was controlling me rather than the other way around. I felt that I was controlled by what I was eating, and just the constant quest to eat more and then feel guilty for eating more, and just all of the psychological issues associated with it.
So you think in terms of your confidence, did that suffer? I mean,
it did, it did, but I think I overcompensated. So because I felt uncomfortable in my own skin, I always tried to be kind of larger than life and happy, smiling person.
In other words, you put a facade on,
Absolutely.
But inside it was an emotional, well, it was abusive in a way, but this constant battle that you were having.
Yeah.
Okay, and so do you think that people tend to judge people who are overweight?
I think some people do, but I think more than that, I judged myself based on my weight,
Right.
and I judged my own worth based on my weight as well. So, and it was never that anyone said to me, "Oh, you need to lose weight," and my husband was always
Supportive
happy with me the way I was.
Sure.
But it was for me.
So it was your own yardstick. You were actually measuring yourself against your own limitations.
Absolutely, and constantly failing with that measurement.
Right. So I guess you would have turned to the natural approaches, which would have been dieting. And so can you tell us a little bit about that? What have you tried to do?
Tried every single diet you could imagine. Weight Watchers, Slimming World. Even went on to the shakes or Lighter Life and all of that sort of thing. And when I dieted, was usually successful.
Mm-hmm.
But then once I wasn't dieting, because I hadn't addressed the underlying issues, I just went back to my old habits, eating for emotional reasons rather than a physical need to eat.
Yes.
And just then put the weight on that I'd lost and more on top.
So what would be your view of diets as a complete approach when it comes to, you know, trying to do this long term?
It absolutely doesn't work.
Can you explain that to people? That's very important.
Yeah, it absolutely doesn't work. I've had to address the underlying issues in my mind associated with food, and dieting doesn't address that. What dieting does is restrict the amount that you eat, kind of artificially, so that you feel as though you're depriving yourself, so you're either on a diet or not on a diet, and when you're not on a diet you make up for what you lost out on when you were on a diet. And just now when I listen to people talking in the office and listen to my friends and they're talking about this next good diet and the next big thing, and I said, no, you don't diet, that's not the way to fix it. But I mean, it's
but you were in the mindset of, well, I guess 90% of the population who tend to fail with diets.
Absolutely.
It's unfortunate that that's the mindset that's set up in society, isn't it, when it comes to losing weight. And was exercise any part of your equation at all? Or?
So when I was dieting, I was very good at going to the gym and exercising, but it was because I felt I had to do it.
Right.
And then of course when I wasn't dieting, I was sitting in the house, I was eating, and I wasn't exercising. And the less I exercised, the less I felt like exercising. And again, that just contributed to
So really not motivated, and it
all.
Just felt like it was a counterproductive exercise, you know, for want of a better word.
Absolutely. And I also, when I put the weight back on, also felt embarrassed to be going to the gym, because I kind of look around and think, oh my word, I'm the fattest person here and they're all looking at me and judging me, and so didn't feel comfortable going either.
So had you heard of hypnotherapy?
I had kind of heard of it, but didn't think it would work for me, because fundamentally I'm a bit of a control freak, and I thought there's absolutely no way that anyone's going to be able to play with my brain and reset me. And tried a couple of different people, but not using the system that you use, and it was just a complete failure. It just didn't work at all. But the time I came to see you, I kind of reached rock bottom and thought, I really need to do something.
Well, what was it that set, I guess, your expectations apart from what you tried in the past? I mean, did you go? How did you hear about Cumbria Hypnosis?
So interestingly, I saw it as I was working at BAE Systems, and there was a banner on a roundabout, and I saw it, and it said, you know, have you tried virtual gastric band? And I thought, I'll maybe try it. So I got on your website and had a look, and saw that you'd kind of been recommended by GPs and things, which kind of legitimised it a little bit as well. And I thought, well, you know, what have I got to lose? You know, if I go and join another slimming club, I'll be spending £6 a week, and then all of the diet food and all of that. What have I got to lose?
So really, it was for you. It was a sort of a leap of faith.
It was, absolutely.
And so you would have arrived at the sessions pretty sceptical, I would have thought.
Absolutely, especially the first one. Yes, and then coming out of the first one, in my mind I thought, oh, you know, there'll be a kind of a reset button, and I'll come out after the first one and I'll be fixed, and expected to feel fundamentally different after the first session. And I didn't. It was really, really subtle, and it was really subtle over the 3 weeks, but it just worked.
Well, tell me about your expectations, going back to that. Were you nervous when you first arrived?
Yes, I was.
Because a lot of people tend to have this perception, don't they, about hypnotists and what hypnosis is all about, and the Darren Brown phenomenon, and you know, we mentioned this on other videos, but it's true, isn't it? I mean, there is that prejudice almost against people who are in that industry. Can you explain your perception?
So my, apart from the 2 sessions with other people that I went to that didn't work, my experience of hypnotherapy was what you see on television, what you see in the clubs, kind of from an entertainment perspective. And I knew deep down, I knew it wouldn't be like that, because that couldn't possibly succeed, but you're still coming into the unknown, you don't know, do you? So, you know, your first session, you are obviously apprehensive.
There's a certain amount of apprehension there. So what was it like after your first session? What surprised you most?
It surprised me that I went out of the first session not feeling as though I'd been hypnotised.
Right, okay.
And I can remember everything that we talked about, and I can remember everything that we did, and that surprised me. So coming out of the session, I thought...
So did you think you'd failed in that sense?
Yes, I did. I thought, well, I can remember everything, so surely I
So
haven't
what were
been
you
hypnotised.
expecting? Because that's really interesting, because always people talk about, it always fascinates me how people talk about being put under.
Yes.
And the idea that you're going to be under the hypnotist's spell and there's going to be some kind of mind control. It wasn't like that, was it?
It wasn't, and that was exactly what I was expecting. I was expecting to sit in a chair and be asleep for half an hour and wake up and hey presto, you're done and you're fixed, and you'll suddenly be much slimmer as a consequence. And it wasn't like that,
Right.
and it was much more practical and much more focused on specific issues. And like I said, I can remember everything that happened. I never once felt as though...
So there must have been a time after your first session where you suddenly thought, aha, something's different here.
Yeah.
What was your first recognition of that moment?
My first recognition was being able to drive past the petrol station and not have that instinct to go in and pick up a bottle of pop and a bar of chocolate, which I was doing every time I drove.
That surprised you?
Absolutely, that was kind of immediate. And then the next thing was that I started to recognise when I was feeling full.
That was your second session?
That was my second session, yeah.
Yeah.
And like I say, it was very, very subtle, and it just kind of dawns on you over the course of the sessions.
Yeah.
And then because of the tools and things that we discuss in the sessions,
Yes.
it kind of helps you to recognise
Yes.
what you're doing.
So did you feel yourself gradually being more and more empowered?
Absolutely.
Is that how it felt to you?
It certainly is. And
I'm just going off what other people have said.
I mean, the first time I drove past a petrol station
Yeah.
and didn't have to drive in.
How did that compare to your experience when you'd been trying to do that yourself with willpower?
When I was trying to do it myself with willpower, when I was on a diet,
Yes.
it didn't stop me wanting to do that. So if, for example, if I'd been to a slimming class and I'd lost a pound, I'd come out and celebrate
Yes.
having lost that weight by going to the chip shop or going to the petrol station.
Rewarding yourself.
Absolutely.
Almost. Yes.
And what the work with you did was teach me to reward myself in different ways.
Yes.
And that's the subtlety of it, I think. And I think then the second awareness was going into the supermarket and not naturally migrating towards the biscuits and the sweets, but naturally migrating towards the fruits and the vegetables.
And you never thought that would happen?
No, I didn't. And my husband laughs at me because I actually get excited about beetroot and strawberries and colours, which is really sad. But that's just the
That's just how it felt to you.
Yeah.
So I guess we've got to ask the $1 million question. When you came to see me, and if you don't mind sharing this, what did you weigh?
When I came to see you, I weighed knocking on 18 stone.
Okay.
And that was in July.
That was in July 2014. We'll say that for the purpose of the video.
Yeah.
Okay.
And as of last week, I'd lost 5 stone exactly.
5 stone.
Yeah.
Wow.
But for me, and it's not just about the weight, for me I don't feel as though I'm dieting. I've never felt as though I'm dieting. I've never felt as though I'm depriving myself. And that means that I know now it's sustainable. So, we went on holiday, I still lost weight. We had Christmas. It never once crossed my mind to eat any of the trigger foods that I'd had before. So I now know that, and I'm only halfway through my journey, I still need to lose a lot of weight, but I know
we'll
now.
call you back and when you've disappeared
when I'm
altogether.
there, absolutely. Call me back in August, just before my son's wedding, and I know I'll be where I need to be.
You know you'll be there. Now, you see, that's an interesting thing, isn't it? The idea that you can sustain this, because there must be a lot of people out there wondering, is this a gimmick? Is this a fad? Is this something that's going to wear off? Now, of course, I'd love to say that, it works for everyone. But of course, that's not the case. It only works for the people who are truly, not committed in a sort of a hard way, but what would you say is the difference you've noticed in terms of being able to sustain this?
Because I don't feel as though I'm depriving myself. And so one of the things that you said right at the beginning was, don't tell yourself you can't have something. So if we've gone out, I mean, we eat out every weekend. It's not like I don't have a social life, so we eat out every weekend.
Yeah.
And if I decide I want to have some chips, I'll order a portion of chips, but I only eat 3 or 4 of them, and then I've had enough.
Yeah.
So for me, that's why it's sustainable, because there's no deprivation there. I'm not saying I can't have this.
So do you think that one little shift in mindset is actually one of the key things, is the idea that you're not having to struggle, you're not being told what you can and cannot have all the time, and that it's about choice?
Yes.
Yes.
I think that's absolutely right. And going back to what I said earlier about me being a control freak, if somebody says to me, you can't have that,
You want the total.
that's all I want.
Yes.
That's all I want.
Yeah.
Whereas now I know that I can have it, I just choose to have something different through choice. So, you know, given the choice between some of the bad foods I would have had in the past and a plate of nice brightly coloured vegetables, then I'm always going to go for the vegetables.
Well, there's going to be
There's
a lot of people out there thinking this must be really difficult to do. What would you say to them?
It's not. It's not. You do need to commit to it. It's not. Nobody's going to press a magic reset button.
So it's not the magic bullet. It's not the holy grail.
It's not.
No, but what makes it easier than normal approaches?
The fact that you're enabled to do it, and it's about enabling yourself to make the right choices, and about you enabling me to make the right choices. And it's not about you can and you can't do this. It's about this is what you want to do. I wanted to make the right choices, and this is kind of helped me do it. And I think now, because I'm 7 months in, it's kind of habit now. It's just how I am. I don't feel like I'm doing anything special. I eat because I have to. When I eat, I enjoy it. But I control it rather than it control me.
I'm not putting words into your mouth, but does it feel then in that sense that food's become more as a function rather than anything else?
Absolutely. And so now I can be, if I'm engrossed in what I'm doing, I don't have to stop to eat. I only stop when I need to eat, rather than thinking, oh, it's 12 o'clock, I should be having lunch.
Sure.
Oh, it's 4:30, it's time for tea.
Yep.
That just doesn't cross my mind. When I'm hungry, I eat, and when I'm not hungry, I don't. And for me, that's the big step change. Only eating when I'm hungry.
When you're really genuinely hungry.
Absolutely. Yeah. So you know, if I think I'm hungry, I'll have a drink first.
Fine.
Yeah.
So, in what way would you say your life has changed? Apart from the fact you've lost the weight, what has that brought with it?
It's brought with it a self-belief. So now I know that I'm in control of what I'm doing. I know now that anything I set my mind to, I can do it. So, you know,
So it's gone beyond just the weight loss.
It has, absolutely. So it's now. I love exercising now, so we've got another new dog, and I walk miles every night. I've started running,
Yes.
I go to the gym, and I just genuinely feel so
motivated by the sounds of it. It almost sounds like your life has got a spring in its step.
It absolutely has. It absolutely has.
I'm delighted.
I'm a different person to the one that walked through the door.
Well, that's really, really great to hear. So, what would be some of your closing thoughts to anybody who's sitting on the fence and wondering whether this is something they really want to do?
I think there's 2 questions. You've got to really want to do it, and you have had to try the other things. You know, people need to convince themselves that it's going to work for them.
Yeah.
And if you've spent your life yo-yo dieting like I did, it's got to be worth a try. It really has.
That's really great. Thank you so much. And all I can do is wish you the very best for the future. And I look forward to stage 2 when we meet again and see what you've achieved then.
Absolutely. And I will be back, because I will.
Wonderful. Lovely to see you again, Leslie.
No problem.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.